Can I get your attention, please? We have a fantastic speaker from Germany, Frankfurt, from Bulgaria. Let's get someone local. The next speaker from Czech Republic is Lukas Liskovec, founder of Forecom Solutions, a fantastic company built with freelancers, and they are focusing on how to grow your business. And I would like to give the word to Mr. Lukas Liskovec.
Hello there. So my name is Lukas. Thank you, Armin, for introduction. I'm a founder of Forecom. We are a growth consulting agency, and we help through consulting mainly topics around marketing and sales. Today, I'll be speaking about account-based marketing, which is basically one of our growth strategies we are using for our clients. And this special growth strategy or topic is used for or is fitted to some type of companies. Usually, the strategy and approach is used for companies in B2B, the companies that have, for example, a larger average deal size and also longer sales velocity, meaning it usually takes a bit longer time to close the deals we are doing with businesses around us. Account-based marketing is an approach that interconnects marketing and sales initiatives to target specific companies and specific people in those companies. Meaning, we can introduce, these two terms, people and companies. The first thing are the companies. Usually, what we do using the account-based marketing is we define so-called ICP, meaning ideal customer profile. That is a definition of companies and their firmographic aspects and parameters. Based on that, you can create a list of companies or so-called tiers, which are a list of companies that are like very important for you and you want to build relationships with them. For building ICPs, you are using firmographic data. So, for example, that is number of employees, average revenue of the company, or region, for example. Also, these days we can use another types of data. For example, the technologies that the company is using. We now have a lot of sources we can use to grab all of this data, and based on those data, define the aspects that are like similar to those companies. Then we have another part of that, because through the account-based marketing, we are targeting companies, but also the people in the companies. Usually, those people are defined by personas. Persona is like a definition of the person in that company. Usually, we have like several types of personas in account-based marketing. First example of the persona is the internal champion. That is, for example, person that actually tried your product and wants to introduce this product or solution in the company they work for. Then another example is blocker, for example. That is a person, usually people from the finance, that wants to see the ROI of the investments they are making, and they want to understand like what is the value of your solution. Then, of course, we have like the main decision makers in that process. Those are the C-level people that are usually signing the contracts. So those are just some examples of personas we work with. Also, some definition of those like people in those companies are the job titles we are using. So the first thing is to define the companies, then we define the personas, and then we can proceed with targeting or using the ABM approach. Quite important thing to mention, as I already said, the ABM is an interconnected approach that is done through marketing activities and also sales activities. What does it mean? Basically, for practical perspective, it is a combination of targeting of ads, content from the marketing side, and also content from the sales side and all the sales processes around like the biz dev and things around it. So, maybe a bit about this alignment between marketing and sales. This is quite interesting topic that we can talk about also like in another time, and that's the revenue operations approach, which is basically the initiatives that interconnects the marketing and sales. And what does it mean, like this interconnection between those departments? Of course, it depends on the state in your company. So if you are just a startup with one guy in marketing and one guy in sale, then it's quite easy to interconnect those two people. But if you have like larger team with tens of people, then it may be a bit of a problem. So when we speak about interconnection of marketing and sales, we speak about it from perspective of technologies. So that is, for example, interconnection of CRM and some marketing tools or marketing automation tools that marketing is using. That's like the infrastructure or the technology. Then the second part are the processes. So basically, we want to interconnect also how the people work in their own departments. And the third, maybe the most important thing, is the communication between those teams. So usually what we do is that we just plan some meetings, for example, on a weekly basis between the teams so they can talk together and have these discussions about, for example, which accounts are currently the one we want to target, and the marketing can focus on those. So basically, when we go with this process of ABM, we have the definition of ICP, the Ideal Customer Profile. We have the definition of segments, the personas, or the people in the companies we want to target. And then we can move forward. With those personas, the other thing we need to especially define is the content that will be used for those specific people. And the content should be definitely based on, on the fact how they think about your solution and your product. So basically, you are selling some product or solution, it solves some problems to the company, but it may mean something else for each of this person in the company. As I mentioned, for the blocker, who is like the finance guy, he wants to see the ROI of your solution. Then, for example, the end user, the internal champion that has already tried a trial, he wants to see different things. He wants to get better understanding, of the features and how it can help him with this day-to-day work. And based on those assumptions and hypotheses around each person in that company, we need to build specific content that is used in marketing and also in sales. Also, important fact to mention, ABM is another part of your mix of activities you are already doing. So basically, you of course have some inbound activities already in process or performance marketing, and this process basically helps you to add some more value into it. So when we have the personas and we already know about the content, we move forward and we start with so-called go-to-market approach for this project. So basically what it means is a definition or exact plan of the things that will be happening in the following days or weeks or months. So basically we sum that up. We also say to each person that would be involved and talk with them about their responsibilities and what part of that ABM project they will be doing. Then we move forward and also important to define in this go-to-market are the budgets that will be allocated for this ABM initiative, and the timing and the responsibilities. Using this, we can have all of this better implemented in the process. So then after this, we come to the execution day itself. So basically, we'll launch those activities. And it's quite important to distinguish between two approaches we are using. The one is so-called light ABM approach. The second one is full ABM approach. The light ABM approach is a smaller variation of ABM, where we use just the standard channels that the company is usually already using, like the LinkedIn, and we combine the data we generated through the iterations before based on this communication between marketing and sales. So meaning we created already definition of ICPs we will be targeting. We already created the content that is tied to each persona in that company. We take all those data and content and we target it using LinkedIn because, of course, on the LinkedIn, you can target specific companies and specific people. That's why it's a good entry point to this ABM world because most of the B2B companies are already using that, but sometimes or very often not using it through the ABM approach that has its own process. That's the light ABM approach. Then we have the full ABM approach where we are also using the LinkedIn, but we are adding some more activities to it. In the ABM world, we have so-called ABM platforms that are like quite similar technologies like, for example, the Google ads or the Facebook ads. It's like just a different type of a platform that enables you to target your campaigns. So through those ABM platforms, we can again target companies, and we usually do it through the programmatic buying of ads. Those ABM platforms are able to target specific companies using, for example, a combination of IP-based data with the cookies. And through that, we can reach out through just like the LinkedIn targeting world and proceed like to the rest of the internet and target and hunt those people and the companies through the internet with relevant content. Also, very large added value of those ABM platforms is the fact that they are usually also interconnected with your CRM. So it means that they can grab data about the deals that are tied to your companies and also help you evaluate how the ABM campaigns are helping with affecting the sales pipeline you have. So it's from the perspective of the total revenue that you are generating through the sales pipeline, but on the other hand, it may also affect your sales velocity, which is like usually the number of days how it usually or in average takes to close the deal in the sales pipeline. And the ABM initiative can affect both the total revenue and also the sales velocity. This is the added value of connecting the ABM platform to the CRM. Other than that, the ABM platforms also have another type of data we may use for targeting the companies. And it's quite interesting topic of the intent data. Intent data are data about companies that are currently doing some sort of research of specific, for example, software or categories of software. So basically, if you are selling, for example, some consulting services around software, you may find this category and see which companies in your region are currently doing the research for this specific topic. You may use then those data and combine them with the ABM approach, and thus you are able to target right companies, right people, but additionally also at the right time. That's the added value of the intent data. There are maybe to mention some of those ABM platforms. There's, for example, Enrich platform. There is, for example, Terminus or 6 Sense or Demand-based. Those are all of those account-based marketing platforms that can help you with that. So maybe also to pinpoint some challenges that are there during the implementation of ABM. The first and foremost important thing is the interconnection of marketing and sales initiatives. So that's the first thing we need usually to focus on. And second thing, or second problem that usually comes up, and we see this during the implementation of those projects, are the data. CRM is a topic for itself. If you are not generating and getting the data in the CRM in a correct way, you may end up in quite messy CRM, and it's not useful, for example, to use those data to create a list of companies or, for example, list of job titles for those personas if you don't even have them. So that's the second problem, the data. And then the third problem are the budgets. You need, during this go-to-market part of the project, define the budgets that are available for this project. if the budget is lower, you may start with the light ABM approach, as I mentioned, or if the budgets are higher, you proceed with the full ABM approach. Okay, I think this is the main one I wanted to mention with the ABM approach and ABM growth strategy. So I think we can proceed through questions. So do you have any question related to the ABM or any other topic related to the growth?
I have a question.
Okay.
It's too high. Okay. I will do it like this. No. Very interesting. Since we are dealing with different software solutions, and obviously you're using also software solutions. Are these solutions your own development, or you use standard solutions to?
Yeah, we use
You use standard solutions.
Yeah, exactly, that are on the market. Like, as I mentioned, there are those solutions like ABM platforms like Terminus, 6 Sense, Demand-Based, Enrich. Those are the leaders, in the industry.
Mm-hmm. And your key proposition to customers is actually what is your approach to the data? What is the uniqueness of your company when you're?
You mean ours or like?
Yeah, yours.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we are growth agency, so we are focusing on this combination of marketing and sales initiatives together. Usually you have dedicated marketing or dedicated sales agency, but what we do is that we focus on combination of those and implementing the revenue operations approach I mentioned. The revenue operations itself is a topic that interconnects all of those in the company and also adds layer of technologies and data into that.
Thank you.
Gonna pull this off. Yeah, thank you for that talk. I as well, I work for a workflow automation company where the clients are more enterprise level, so the deals take quite some time. So my question is, when you talk about the budget and talk about the customer acquisition costs for those type of clients and how long it takes, is the budget seen more of a compliance thing to be added or under it, or is it depending on the lifetime value that a certain client can bring?
Yeah, from my perspective, it depends on the current state of things in the company, depending on the overall budget they already have and how they are allocating that budget and if the budget is bringing the results they want. So if we come up to the company that already has this budget, we just usually take a part of it as some sort of supportive or experiment, part of the budget, and we use it for this ABM approach. And as I mentioned, we can always start with the light ABM approach, which is not, you don't need that much of the budget to start with that, approach.
Okay. And then two-part question. So one more is, right now for us, we do focus a lot on conferences and building relationships since it is more long-term deals that we're closing. LinkedIn is an area we're getting into, but where would you suggest, I know you were talking about ads, running ads, targeted ads for those type of decision makers.
Yep.
How would you go about that process for, this type of enterprise level B2B?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, the ABM, in our case, is a lot about online channels and online activities. But in the end, you can also support it with some offline activities, mainly in the field of sales, but also there are nowadays special, providers doing, for example, personalization of gifts they send to the company that is your potential client, and you just complement this as a part of the ABM approach. So from perspective, of digital enterprise target group, I would combine those approaches, mainly the online, and combine them with some part of the offline approaches. But the root or the core of the ABM is usually, the performance marketing that is usually used on the top funnel, then different content in mid funnel and bottom funnel, and during that there is combination with sales. So for example, just some example. We have a top funnel campaign in display through this ABM platform running through programmatic. When there is like enough engagement from specific account, we start BizDev automation through special tool that hunts the people on the LinkedIn and on the email. And this is like the interconnection of those two. Like it starts with the marketing approach with performance, but when the time is right and we see that on the data, then we start like the BizDev hunting. And also again, the BizDev hunting is personalized for each persona in the company.
Oh, thank you. Interested to hear more.
Okay, thank you for the attention and have a nice day.
Thank you, Lukas.